Hi, my name is John Gonzalez. Thanks for joining me for this quick look at Ring Circus. Alright, so in Ring Circus, you and your table mates are the directors of circuses traveling across the United States in the 19th century, competing to have the most fame at the end of the game. So Ring Circus is a game designed by Remo Conzadori and Fabio Lopiano. It features art by Edu Valls, and it's published by Devir. It plays 1 to 4 players, and the recommended age for this game is 12 and up. The game's supposed to take about 80 minutes to complete, which I found to be pretty accurate. Alright, let's head to the table and take a look at this game. There's my cat Comet. She's looking over the board and keeping an eye out on everything. So here we have the table all set up. We do have these cards that every player starts off with. The board is set up for a 4-player game, although you won't see the boards for the other players. You do start off with 4 money cards, 1 end of game scoring card, and 1 ticket card. Alright, the goal of the game is to get the most victory points represented by fame on this track over here. On your turn, you could do one of 2 things. You can hire a performer and add them to your board, or you can move and perform on the map. So how do you hire somebody? Well, you look at your cards and you can hire any of these that have numbers on them. You can hire this special ticket performer. You can hire any of these regular performers. Here's my cat Comet. Let's say I wanted to hire this cowboy. The cost is 4 up there on the upper left corner. And I would need to pay out of these money cards that I have here. So I would have to pay with one of these 5s. You don't get any change in return. Alright, so we would pay for this cowboy by discarding this card over here. Now in later rounds, if we wanted to add this special ticket performer, which costs 15, we would have to either start them off in a new row, pay 15 money for that, or we could place them in front of the cowboy. Whenever you're buying a new character, you have to look at the card that goes before it, and these always have to be in numerical order. This 15 would go after this 4, but you would only pay the difference between the highest value card in that row and the difference of the card you're adding. So right here you would pay 11 money, which I can't right now, but that's fine. So along the way, you're going to be covering up some spots like this one. This one will let you take a money card. Some of the other ones on here give you either victory points, or let you grab any of the other card types. You'll notice that on your board you do have some of these trains. That's your movement for the game. And for the characters, you can add them to any row. They just have to be on the left column here. And you have to go outward to the right. So you couldn't just buy in a character or performer all the way down here. Some of these money cards have special bonuses, which I'll talk about in a bit. All right, so that's one thing you could do on your turn. Another thing you could do on your turn is stage a performance. All right, so let's say you want to perform. Here I am in Cleveland. I want to move to, let's say, Toledo to do a performance. So we look at our board and see what our movement is. Our movement is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to start off. So I'm very easily able to move to Toledo to stage a performance in a small town. You're going to look at your board and see how much money you get. So looking at my board, I get 1 money. There are no other money symbols on the board. Some of the cards or performers you could add on here will give you more money symbols to add to your income. So I would get 1, plus you get 1 for the city you're performing, plus every adjacent city that you're performing in that does not already have a performance on it. All right, so for our performance in Toledo, we are going to get $1 for the dollar icon on our board. We're going to get 1 for performing in Toledo, and we're going to get 1 for each adjacent city that does not already have a performance. So we're going to get 2 more additional dollars for a grand total of 4 cards. We also place one of our circus tents on there to signify that we've already performed there. All right, so when you want to perform in a medium city, let's say I wanted to perform in Buffalo, I would check my movement. It's still 6. I'm very easily able to get to there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime you're traveling, you do skip over other players' circuses. So if you were to do this travel action, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, skipping over my circus tent as well as the other players' circus tents. Now to perform in Buffalo, what you need to do is compare your pedestal skills to this tier. So we look at this up here. Buffalo's looking for clowns. So you look at your board. You'll notice on my board I don't have any clowns. I do have a cowboy, which is great for Philadelphia. So we might want to travel to Philadelphia instead, but that's a long ways off for me. If I were to have a clown on my tableau, like this one over here, that would allow me to gain 2 more pedestals for that clown in the show. All right, so if I did have a clown in my act, I would get a bonus of 2. So that would be 2 plus 2 for the city bonus, plus 1 for the clown card, plus 1 for the cowboy card. So I'd be at 3 on the board here. 1, 2, 3, plus the 2 from the bonus there. I'd be at 5. So we would be able to claim this spot here. We would put our token here in the buffalo and either claim 3 victory points or 2 of these ticket cards up here. And we could choose whichever we want from the offer. All right, so the big cities are where you're going to score your biggest amount of points. They're the true trophy of the game. There's only 4 big cities on the board, so you're constantly fighting for those. So in order to perform in the big cities, first of all, you have to be able to get there. So let's say I'm able to get to Washington, D.C. Well, Washington, D.C. is looking for a very special type of performer. They're looking for a tightrope walker, card number 9. So you need to have that in order to perform. Let's say I did have that. Let's say I had number 9 already on my tableau. All right, let's say I wanted to perform in Washington, D.C. The requirements for performing in Washington, D.C. are that you have to have a tightrope walker, which is card number 9. It's right here. We have that. So we're able to perform there. We get bonus points based on what we have in our circus. For example, let's say they want the tightrope walker, which we have. We need to have an animal to the left of it and a blue card to the right of it. So if we look at our tableau, we actually do have that. We have an animal to the left and a special blue performer to the right of it. So we're actually going to get the full bonus here. We're going to get 4 plus 6 plus 5 plus, for being the first to get there, we're going to get that 3. So all in all, we're going to get 18 points, which is pretty good for a big city. Lots of points there to contend with. Now, if other people were to follow up on that, they would get 1 point for being there in the second spot. And if they would get points for any of these available acts that they have in their circus. All right, so let's take a look at Barnum's circus. Barnum is going to move around the board clockwise every time someone performs. So they're slowly making their way across the board. Whenever they reach a large city, there's going to be a regional scoring. So we take a look at whoever's performed in this area here, this blue area for Indianapolis. All right, so let's say it's time to score this region over here. We take a look at whoever has the most presents here. So we could see that purple has 3 circus tents there. They have the most present, followed by blue and red, which are tied. If there's ever a tie, we look at the large city over here and see who's the performer who has performed on it. Since there's nobody there, we look at the big city, whoever has the highest one here, and we break ties that way. All right, so blue would break the tie here. All right, so in this case, purple would get 10 victory points, blue would get 6, and red would get 3. Poor yellow wouldn't get anything at all. The game is over when Barnum has made his way across all the way to Boston and we do the final scoring. One neat thing about the game is that it does give you these boards, so you could place them on top here and covering up certain regions when you're playing at different player counts, so that's pretty cool. When you're playing at 2-player count, there's only 3 regions available, which makes it for a tighter game. It scales way better. It's really nice to see these in board games, and we should have more of these little boards. All right, so the game does feature some wonderful art, as you can see here on the cards. They do have some animals on there, and if you're concerned about the way animals were treated in circuses at the turn of the century there, Devir does have a promo pack which replaces the animals with mechanical animals. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. I'm not sure how you could find it. I do know it was available as a promo at Gen Con, so hopefully it's something you'll be able to get your hands on if you're interested. All right, so there you have it. There's a quick look at Ring Circus from Devir Games. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. We'll see you next time. Bye.